Hello all, welcome to my channel. This is Sumant, and in this video, we will discuss about how to perform cross-browser testing using BrowserStack. Now for this, we will write 3 Selenium test cases using Mocha framework, and then we will run all these 3 test cases in 4 different browsers. Now, if you haven't watched the other videos in this BrowserStack and Selenium Webdriverjs integration playlist, I recommend you to watch those videos as well. I have discussed about what is BrowserStack and how to integrate Selenium WebDriver.js tests developed in Mocha framework to BrowserStack. So I have explained all the details that you need for the BrowserStack integration. Please do watch those videos as well. Now, let's first understand what is cross-browser testing. Now, cross-browser testing is a type of non-functional testing where you test the application that you are testing, right, is working fine in different browser and OS combinations. Let's say your application should work when it is opened on Windows 10 machine on a Chrome browser, which is having the latest Chrome version. Now it should work similarly and without any issues on Windows 11 operating system as well. And where your application is opened on a Chrome browser with version 102, Chrome version 102. Similarly, your application should work on Mac OS as well when the application is opened in Firefox browser, on Safari browser, either on a latest version or on a specific version. So as part of cross-browser testing, we will be verifying that our applications are working properly in all these OS and browser combinations. We can't test each and every combination, but we'll pick few major combinations that our clients or customers are using and try to execute our automation test cases on these browser and OS combinations. Now let's go back to our VS Code and then start writing our scripts. And once the scripts are developed, we will run those scripts on multiple browser and OS combinations. Now let's create a new folder in a project and name it as CB test cross browser test. And let me add a JS file, CB test1.js. Now let me first write our Selenium test here. Let WebDriver equal to require of Selenium WebDriver, and then let me create a driver object. Now let me write my Mocha test. Describe, give it a name, cross browser testing suite 1, comma async function. Now let's write our test. So let me call the first test as Google test 1, comma async function. Now let's keep things simple in this test. So I'll first open the Google website, /google.com. Let me add an await before, and then I'll get the title of the website. Title of the website is await driver.get title. Okay, we are done with our first test. Let me copy this test and then create a couple of other tests as well. Let me call it orange HRM. So I am going to Orange HRM website and then getting the title of that website. And then third one is Amazon. Let me go to Amazon website and get its title. Now that's it. These are the simple 3 test cases. Now we didn't initialize the driver. We are not passing any capabilities to run these tests in BrowserStack. We will do that now. Now let me create one more file called config.js. So this is the file where we place all our browser capabilities. Config.js. Now let me create a capabilities object, and it's an array of objects again. So this is the place where we add all the browser capability details. We'll list down all the browsers and OS combinations that we need to test. We already knew where to get the browser capabilities. Let's go back to browserstack.com, go to the documentation. After clicking on introduction, right, you can scroll down a little. So here in thread 1, right, let's say I want to execute on Windows operating system on Windows 10. So I want to use Chrome version 104. So I got the list of capabilities here. Let me copy them and add them to my capabilities object. Yeah. Yeah. Let me go back again. Now I want to select maybe Windows 8 and Firefox 101. Let's go with this combination. Windows 8, Firefox 01. I'll add that here. Now let's go back and now I want to select Mac OS. Let me select Monterey Safari 15.3. So I have the capabilities listed here. Copy, paste. Let me add one more. So now I'll select picture and maybe Safari. Let's go with Firefox 103. Okay, this is my other browser capability. Okay, let me add it here. Let me format this document. So these are the 4 capabilities. First, Windows 10, Chrome version 104, and then Windows 8, Firefox version 101, Mac OS, Safari version 15.3, and then Mac OS, Firefox version 103. Now let me create one more object called common capabilities. Let common capabilities equal to, let me add these 3. So the project that we are working on, the build that we are testing, and the test name. So we will modify this test name at runtime anyway. Now I will add this common capabilities, right, to all these objects. Now how can we do it? Using spread operator, 3 dots, and then the other object that we need to append here. Now we are adding build name and test name here, right? So we can remove these 2, build name and session name, from the capability object. I mean, browser stack options. So I've removed all, and also I need to add the capabilities to common capabilities to all the capabilities that we are adding. So now, so for each and every capability, right, we are having this also these common capabilities. That is the advantage of using spread operator and calling the object name. Now let's go back to our test file. Let me first require my config.json. Let capabilities equal to q require /config. Now we forgot one thing. We need to export these capabilities. Module dot export equal to capabilities. Now these capabilities should be directly sent to this object. So I'm calling capabilities again here. The next thing that we need to do is each and every test that we have written should be executed for each and every capability present in config.js file. Now, how can we do it? We know that the capabilities object is an array. So let's iterate through each and every element in that capabilities array using for each. And then we'll say function capability. Now let's add all our its inside that for each. So what have we done here? For each element in this array object, we are calling all these three its. So we are calling these three tests for this object first, followed by this, and then lastly this. So you can add few more objects here based on your need. So there is no limit. Let's come back to our code. So one thing that we didn't do till now is we didn't initialize our browser. We are not adding any success or failure message to the BrowserStack report. Now let's see how to do that. Now, one thing that you have to remember is you can't add your before each and after each hooks inside this for each because they get executed first, followed by your each. So that's why we'll place them outside this for each. So for the setup, right, I have created a method called setup, and in this method I'm initializing the driver object. We know how to get this URL, what are these capabilities and all. This setup method takes the capabilities as an argument and then uses the argument to create a driver instance. Now what we do is we call this setup method in our test. Await setup. Now what is the argument that we have to pass? We have to pass capability, the value that is coming from the for each. Now what this does is it will initialize our browser driver object. Now let me write an after each. Now in the after each, right, what I will do is I will add the tear down script or all the tear down code. Now we already seen what is the tear down code in our previous sessions. So I'll just copy paste that code. So the first line, right, first if statement, we are verifying the state of the current test, and if it is failed, we are logging a failure to the browser stack, and if it is passed, we are logging a success message to browser stack, and then we are quitting the browser. Now these two functions, right, they are present in utils.js file, which we don't have in this particular folder. Now let me copy the other utils that we have. So we have already seen how to create this utils file and how to use these methods in our previous videos. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you to watch those videos as well. I have added that link to the playlist in the description. Now, so in my conf cb test one, let me require the utils file as well. Utils equal to utils. So in the setup method, right, I'll say utils dot driver equal to driver. We have already seen why we need to use this in our previous video. And then I think the rest of the code looks fine for me. I don't think we have to modify or add anything. So we didn't add the before each. If you have any setup functions where you create your screenshot folder or some other things, right, you can add them in your before each. Saying function. So in my case, I'm not adding anything. I'll just do some console logs. Console.log before each method of this dot current test dot title. Now other stuff is same. The one other thing that we didn't do till now is, so if you look at this capability object, right, we need to update the test case name. So how can we do it? Let's go back to our file. We'll call the capability object that is coming from the from each for each name equal to this dot test dot title. Now, if we are adding this line in the before each or after each, right? Instead of test, right, we will call current test. But if we are trying to get the title or anything else, title or state of the current test, right, we will be using test itself. If we are calling it in the it block, if we are trying to get the title or state in the after each or before each, right, we will use this dot current test. So remember the difference. I forgot to add the setup method in the other test. So I have added it now. Now let's start running our test. For running our test, right, in package.json under scripts tag, I have added this tag once again. So I said test colon cbt mocha cbt test folder, and I've given timeout as 60 seconds. Now this is the folder we are referring to, and in this folder we have only one test, one mocha test, cb test one. So that one test should be picked up for execution. Now let's start running it. npm run test colon cpt, enter. We got an error. Let's see. A reference error, cannot access common capabilities before initialization. Yep. Yeah, I understood the error. Let's go to config.json file. So we have added it after our capabilities object, right? Let's change its position. Let's add it before our capabilities object. Now let's run our tests again. Let me clear the screen. So it started executing. The first test case is under execution. First test execution is completed. Second test case execution started. Its execution is completed. Let's go to a browser stack and then see the results. So all our test cases are getting executed. So if you look at the test rate, they are getting executed on different browsers. It started with Chrome, on Windows 8 and Windows 10, now on Firefox Windows 10. So there are so many tests here, so that is why things are a little clumsy. Now let me do one thing. Let me create a new build so that we'll have all our tests under one build. Let me go back to my config.js, go to common capabilities, change the build name to staging build 3. Now our test should be executed in these 4 browsers: Windows 10 Chrome, Windows 8 Firefox, Mac OS Safari, and then the Mac OS Firefox. Now let me stop this execution and trigger one more run with the new build details that we have provided. Let me clear it. Let me execute the command again. So the execution is started. The execution is completed now. Let's go to BrowserStack. Now under this build 0.0.3, so there are 12 tests that are executed, even though we have executed just 3 tests, right? Only 3 tests are executed as part of this Mocha test file, but the build here says there are 12 tests that are executed and all 12 tests passed. Now, if you look at it, these 12 are in different operating system and in different browsers. This is how we perform cross-browser testing in BrowserStack using our Selenium scripts. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope this is helpful. See you in the next lecture.